All right. So totoo lang guys, I didn't feel like doing this video today. Not getting a lot of views yet. It's a YouTube channel, but you have to believe in the system, right? You have to believe na gumagana siya, right? You have to believe that if you burn a certain amount of calories, then and eat a certain amount of calories, then you should lose weight, right? Yun yung caloric deficit. By the same idea or token, and I have to just stay consistent in doing these videos because I want to help more people like you. So a solopreneur, maybe in the service industry, just like me, a personal trainer, or physiotherapist, someone that has a service business here in the Philippines. Hopefully, I can help people like you, and this is why I do these videos. So the tips that I'm going to share with you today are mindset and motivational tips for servicepreneurs, service solopreneurs just like you, um, that I wish I learned a lot sooner. Okay, I can't believe it. First of all, like I'm turning 42 this year, right? So I've been in the industry for almost 2 decades, right? 1 decade in Canada, another decade here in the Philippines. Time flies, right? I'm an author, self-published author. Let me get the book. I'll show you. Right here. So, did this during the pandemic, before AI, by the way. Been voted as one of the top trainers in the biggest fitness gym in Canada. And when I say top selling, so I really enjoy sales and marketing. As much as I love the fitness industry, this is something I'm really passionate about, because if you can't sell, if you can't market your services, how can you be profitable? How can you help more people, right? So I guess that's the first tip I have for you. Don't think of sales as a bad thing. If you believe in your product, your service, then you need to sell as much as you can. No hard selling, obviously, but you have to market yourself, because that's how people find you. You have to sell your idea. So my idea is health and fitness for individuals, and now it's for companies, because I'm the founder and CEO of HoliFit, which is an employee engagement company. So we make sure that they're healthy and fit, mind, body, and soul. That's what HoliFit stands for. It's a holistic approach to their fitness, so that they're more productive, they enjoy work, and they're less stressed there. Right? I had to sell that idea to business owners, to HR. I had to sell the idea of exercise to my B2C clients, right? Personal training clients. So that's my first step. Don't shy away from selling. We all have to sell ourselves, right? Could be, if you're in HR, you have to sell, this new protocol or this onboarding system. If you're in finance, you have to sell the idea on why we should stop spending and investing in certain things, right? If you're in, I don't know, legal, you should sell this idea and why they shouldn't be doing certain things. I don't know. Hopefully I gave you enough examples. So I think that's the first example. Know how to sell. Let me write that down, so that when I give this to the editor, actually it's going to be a raw video, but when you put down chapters on our YouTube channel, we know what we're doing. So tip number 1 is selling. All right, let's move on to tip number 2. The second tip that we have here is you have to do it. Right? I don't know about passion. You have to find something you enjoy, that you're passionate about. Yeah, I guess I was passionate about fitness and all that. But passion can die. Sometimes I lose track, right? So I've heard this thing before when I first started out, that you have to be passionate. Now they're saying, no, you don't have to be passionate about it. If it makes you money, then you start becoming passionate. You just have to do the work regardless. So for me, for example, I wanted to work on my laptop here, or my desktop. I wanted to clean it up. I was actually watching something streaming right now. NBA playoffs are going right now. So I didn't feel like doing it. All right. So sometimes it's not about feelings. That's a second tip. It's not about having this passion. It's not about, I don't know, waiting for the right moment to feel good. You know what I mean? It's about just doing it regardless. I didn't feel like doing this right now, to be honest. That's why I do these videos in batches. Right? And I was just thinking about excuses. Just like exercise. Sometimes you don't want to do it. But you have to do it anyway because you committed. Mondays, Wednesdays, every Friday, I'm going to work out regardless. But, you might regret it when you first start. But at the end, you feel a lot better. Because you get these endorphins. You feel better, right, when you exercise. Just like now, I'm actually feeling better that I got started, all right? It's making me feel good, feeling accomplished, right? So with that, do it regardless because you have to believe that it will lead to something. All right, right now, my channel has 27 subscribers, so most of them are my staff, if not coaches that we pass clients to, so I guess they have to do this. But I have to believe, right? You just have to do it anyway. Studies show numbers. People don't stick around for so long. If selling is really hard, that's why I do it, because I know not a lot of people want to do hard things. Starting a podcast, the longevity game, right? It really is a marathon. So, calories in should be less than calories out in order to lose weight. So you have to trust the process, right? So I think that's actually kind of like number one and number two. Do it anyway, right? Not have the passion. Believe in what you sell. Sorry, that's number one. Not looking for passion. Okay? Do it regardless. That's the number two. Do it regardless. Don't wait for a feeling. And I heard this recently. They were saying people wait for motivation before they take action. It's the other way around. You should take action in order to feel motivated. Because you take action, it motivates you. Yes, it won't be perfect. Yes, you will miss sometimes. But you're creating this belief in yourself. You're creating this confidence because you're taking action. And when you manage your expectations that it won't be perfect, that you won't do it right the first time, but you improve, right? Progress doesn't mean perfect. Practice doesn't mean perfect. Practice means progress, right? I don't believe in perfect. There's no 100%, right? You just get better and better at it. Okay? So that's the second rule right there. Don't wait for the right feelings to do something. Don't believe in passion. Just do it. Believe it. Obviously, have statistics, have studies that prove that what you're doing here works, right? Just like podcasts. Most of them don't. I think it was like after 10, they stop, right? Or starting a YouTube channel or going for that harder sales pitch where you have to talk to all these executives. Less and less people will do it because it's so hard, right? Because it's a marathon and not a sprint. So that's why I do this, okay? All right, now the third is, I love this a lot. Life is suffering, okay? I don't want to sound very pessimistic, but when I understood this, it made a lot of sense. I don't know who said this, but this is what I wrote down. So in life, we choose our regrets, we choose our struggles, we choose our hardships. So if you don't choose them, your life will choose them for you. Okay? So if you don't choose to exercise, which is hard, really, some people enjoy it. You should make it enjoyable. Some days I hate exercise. Some days I don't want to go to the gym, but I do it anyway. All right? But anyway, the point here is, if you don't do that hard thing of being consistent, exercising and eating clean, right? Avoiding the junk food, get enough sleep, then your hardship will be being at the hospital, getting sick, waiting for the doctor, getting a checkup. Now that I'm 41, every time I visit the doctor, every time I do my yearly checkup, I'm kind of worried actually. So choose your hardship, right? And I'd rather to choose my path rather than life choosing for you. So you want to be a sailboat where you use the current, where you use the stars, where you use the wind to take you to a certain direction versus, a plywood, a driftwood, a log that just lets current take you wherever it takes you, right? It will take you somewhere, but don't you want to choose your destiny, all right, as much as you can? So that's the third tip right there. Life is full of suffering, but you choose your suffering. You choose your struggle. People die, life is not always perfect. We struggle with finances, with love, with, I don't know, business, with friends. But if you choose your struggles, then it feels like you're more in control. Okay? So choose your struggles. And I really like that. Yeah. Next tip number, so let me write that down. That's number 3 here. Number 4 is, yeah, oh, it's still the same thing. So if you don't choose, life will choose on the side of fear. Okay. If your freedom, yeah. Okay, I don't know where I got this from. So I write down a lot of notes. I have so many notes everywhere, digital and written down notes. So, but I like this one. Let me read this to you. On the other side of fear is your freedom. If you're afraid of heights, you will stay low. If you're afraid of the dark, you'll only stay in the bright spots. All right? So, yeah, I think that would be number 4, actually. So I would not choose I would go through my fears, not around it. We used to have a fear of making sales calls, but obviously it wasn't easy. I did them anyway. But because I did them and I failed and sometimes I succeeded, I felt great. I realized that if I delay every day, an extra day, my fear gets stronger. Okay? When I was single, I had this fear of walking up to pretty girls or whatever, but kept doing it until I became numb. I didn't care anymore, right? Obviously, I would see if they're interested in me before I approach them, because apparently that's how it works. They give you the signal to approach them. But I realized at a very young age that 12 years old? No, just kidding. I don't know. Me, not the girls I'm approaching when I was 12. Ooh, that went dark real fast. Anyway, I realized that, yeah, there was no fear, right? Because I kept doing it, the fear started to die. So every time you do something that you're afraid of, you're chipping away from that fear, and you're gaining confidence, right? You're becoming more, I don't want to say fearless, but courageous. So here's the difference between fearless and courageous. Fearless, you have no fear of it. You don't have a fear of heights, right? But being courageous is having that fear of heights, but you go through it anyway, right? And that is very empowering. So that's what I would suggest to you. It's either you win or the fear wins. So do it anyway. And always go back to this: manage expectations. Yes, you won't get it right the first time, but you get better and better at it. So if it's making sales calls, if it's knocking on doors, door to door, if it's being introduced to a connection that you really need, do it despite the fear. So you conquer the fear, don't let it conquer you. Done. Okay? And this really helped. I think this is number 5 now. So that's 1, 2, 3 here. This is 4. If you don't choose, okay. No, that's still 3. This is 4. And now we're at number 5. So this has something to do with managing expectations as well. So earlier I was saying that, yeah, we won't get it right. Practice means progress, not perfect. Those are ways of managing expectations. It's going to be hard, but the more you do it, it'll get easier and easier, right? Do it anyway, despite not feeling like it, and then you gain more confidence. These are like mindset tips. These are a way to pre-frame what you have to do. So the next thing is, I always focus on the bad things, right? Oh, I look so stupid. Oh, why did I do that? Oh, I'm not the best salesperson. Oh, I'm not the fittest guy, you know? And this is a negative thing that we always look at. It's called, negativity bias. We always look at the bad things. Me as a business owner, as an employer, I also look at what my staff do bad, right? Oh, you could do this better. And I don't really point out what they do good, because by default, that's why I'm paying them. That's why I have a salary, because if they're even editing this or watching, that's That's why I pay you. That's why I have a salary. Do it anyway. But so let's focus on what could be improved. So that's where I notice the negativity bias. When we focus on what we do wrong, it's because it hurts more. It hurts more to lose $10 than it feels good to win $10. Okay, because losing actually hurts more than gaining something, and this has an evolutionary reason to it. If we lost our next meal, that could mean that we could die. If we lost our shelter, talking about when we're hunters and gatherers, that could mean that we could be eaten by a predator, or that we could get sick from the extreme weather. But if we gained an extra meal, that just meant that we could eat more. Didn't mean that we would survive more. If we had a second home, that just meant that we had more shelter, right? So that's why we focus on what goes wrong, because we want to protect ourselves from that. So if you always look at the bad side of things, understand that this has an evolutionary reason, and you're not a pessimist. This is how your brain evolved, so that you survived, right? This is the way it works. Okay, so I realized, some people don't think that way, so that's why I try to point out the good, to give them more confidence. Okay, like my staff, good job at doing this, even though it's their job. Even though it's his job, that's what I was trying to say. But, if it gives them confidence, fine, I'll spend some time to do that. So I try to do that for myself as well. I give myself confidence, pat myself on the back, and understand why we have this negativity bias. So that's number 5. All right, let's move on to number 6. So why do we have this? I ask myself, fear of shame, rejection, trying something new, what's this say? Networking, meeting new people. Sorry, if you heard that was my phone, so I'm going to put that on silent so it doesn't distract you guys. And I'm keeping this raw because I only have 27 subscribers. So if you don't mind, guys, like, share, subscribe, comment. It helps the algorithm if you like this. All right, so you'll see more of these videos. And it gives me feedback that someone's watching, and I'll continue to make videos. So the more engagement, the higher the chances I'll make higher quality videos, better edited videos. So please help me out so I can help you as well. It's a win-win, right? Okay. So, this is number 6, I guess, or number 5, 6. Yeah, so we had the shame. So I guess it continues to number 5. So fear of shame, fear of rejection, trying something new, networking, meeting new people. This is what's stopping you from making new sales call, trying new marketing campaigns, potentially looking stupid in front of your peers. And the reason behind that is we want to look good in front of others. We want to look good, like we could be the leader of the tribe, right? That we feel respected, because if we weren't respected when we're hunters and gatherers by our tribe, then that could mean that could be pushed out of the tribe, that we would be exiled. And if we didn't have a tribe because we were nomadic, we would hunt and gather as a tribe. We're not lone wolves. That meant certain death. So that's why we wanted to fit in. That's why we didn't want to look stupid. That's why we didn't want to feel rejected, especially when it comes to business, because our brain, that's how we evolved, right? To be approved, not to be rejected, but the opposite of that. To be part of a tribe, okay? Okay. So let's move on with negativity bias. So this is still under number 5. Apparently, it takes at least 5 good constructive actions to make up for the damage done by one critical or destructive act. So whenever something negative happens to me, I always try to think, okay, what did I do well today? I closed a new deal. I'm trying something new. Or I'll be grateful for things that I already have, but I take for granted because I'm always focusing on the next goal, the next thing, right? Moving the goalpost, right? Never celebrating the small wins and being in the now, right? So that's one thing I want to share with you guys. Maybe because you're a go-getter like me, you're an entrepreneur, you always think, okay, next, this is by default, I should be winning. Let's move on to the next because this is not enough, right? It's that hedonic treadmill. It's that never-ending push for more, gain more, be more, do more. You should stop and be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for the things you take for granted that a few months ago you did not have, right? Because you're always focused on the next thing. So that's what I try to do. That's what they say. Without changing anything outside of in your outer world, you change your inner world and it makes you feel better. And that's gratitude. Okay? So I wish I had more of that, like gratitude practice, having a gratitude list, writing things down, taking a break, celebrating little milestones. Okay? It's very important for some breaks. Okay. Next is, I like this. I would always compare myself to like other people who grew up in a private school. I guess I was well networked. I guess my parents, especially my dad, for work had to go to the country club, network a lot, and I'd compare myself to others. Right? I'd see, this guy, his family is better, they're well off, or they have better genes, they're more athletic, right? Or they seem smarter, they can speak better, they hold themselves better. I would compare, right? What I see now outside, the superficial stuff, I don't really know what's happening inside them. And I sometimes would say I'm a bit of an a-hole to think that way, right? That I compare myself. Why can't I just be confident? And again, it goes back to evolution. This is why it's normal that we compare ourselves to others. Okay? Because we wanted to see how we stack up against others. So we compare our business or income or revenue, whatever it is, our team to other people, right? As an entrepreneur or a solopreneur. Why are they doing better? Why are they making better sales calls? Why do they have better clients? Why aren't they making more money? Right? I'm so stupid. Then when I realized that's normal, it felt better. And let me tell you a reason why. And hopefully this makes you feel better as well. Because I really did feel like a douche. I was like, why am I thinking this way? Why am I so selfish? Why can't I be happy for them? Right? I truly could be happy for them, I guess. But when I realized that we do this because we want to see how we stack up against, other people in our tribes, other hunters in our tribes. For example, other males, right? If we do better than them, or if they do better than us, then they become the alpha male, which means they have the better choices of mates, of shelter, whatever it is, right? They show that they can hunt, they can have healthy offspring, so they're great genes. They could protect their family with the shelter that they have, right? So we want to see how we stack up against other alpha males or other males in our tribe, and who is the alpha male. That meant that, if we're not the weakest, we wouldn't be left behind, because as I mentioned earlier, we were nomadic. So if we had to move from one place to another, or we had to outrun a tiger, we're not the weakest one, right? We wouldn't be the one eaten first. That's crazy, right? So I guess we kind of compare that way. So I guess that's number 3, 4, 5, 6. I kind of went on a segue there. So comparison is normal. We do it. We want to see how we stack up against others. Now, that's number 6. Number 6. Now let's go to number 7. And this is about hardship. So I would even compare my hardship versus how life is for them. Okay? So that's number 6. 7. So 6 is hardship. Sorry about that if you heard a dinging. That's my... I cannot pick that up. So number 7. Give me 1 second. We're not going to edit this. You just have to wait. All right, that was a quick intermission. Number 7, I used to compare about the hardships too. So I like how the Dalai Lama said this. The person who has had more experience of hardships can stand more firmly in the face of problems than the person who has never experienced suffering. So I really like that because, comparing, other people were born richer, well provided, less stress about money or whatever, right? traveling, vacations, resting. And when I realized that I should stop comparing, first of all, and then second, understanding that the hardship I go through, it makes me a stronger person, right? So when I was easily selling at a commercial gym, fully booked right away as a new personal trainer, right? Raised my rates, still was fully booked. It was easy for me to sell, for me to market myself in a commercial gym. But then when I moved to a private studio, I couldn't sell, I couldn't market because it was a private studio. So I had to learn how to sell, I had to learn marketing, I had to learn finance, forecasting, all these things. So that hardship actually made me a better entrepreneur, not just a personal trainer that counts reps, makes them lose weight, but understand my business, how to grow it too. Okay? So when I realized that, I'd like to believe it makes me feel better. So hopefully that makes you feel better too, understanding that we all have to go through hardships, and some people go through worse, right? More, but it builds character. Okay? And I think we're number 8 now. Number 8. Okay, adversity is a filter. Okay? Real friends rise during adversity, and fake friends fade away. So don't think of adversity as a bad thing, just like anything in life. If you drink too much water, you can drown. That's a bad thing. If you don't have water, you die. But just enough, it's good for you. All right? Just like anything in life. You just have to learn to get enough. So adversity can be good as well. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? It strengthens relationships. It opens people's hearts to one another. All right? So don't think of adversity as a bad thing. First, you become a better person, just like the adversity I had when I moved from a commercial gym to a private studio. I learned sales more. I learned marketing. I learned finance. I learned forecasting. All these things that I had to learn the hard way because of that adversity. So I want you to understand that every business has to go through hard times, right? But understand that adversity is not always bad. So that's why when things are good in my business, I do my best to remind myself, because I don't always do, to save for the hard times, because there will always be hard times, right? And whenever there are hard times, I try to remind myself there's always a lesson here. What can I learn from it? Because things can't run smoothly all the time, right? If they do, life would be so boring. You need those ups and downs, right? Enjoy the ups, and whenever you're going down, kind of, I guess, brings you down to earth again, makes you realize that nothing is permanent in life. I guess it makes you more compassionate to other people who are struggling as well. And there's always a lesson there, right? I think generational wealth, I think it lasts only 2 or 3 generations, right? So, what's that saying? Weak men create strong. I'll save it for another video. But the point here is, it doesn't stay forever, because if your kids don't go through hardship, they don't know how to build character. Just like, I think that was number 7 there. All right. So again, adversity is a good thing. That's the last thing I was telling you about. So what can you learn? You either win or you learn, and nothing is constant, because even if it's going up and it's constant all the time, that's essentially a flat line just on an angle, right? But if you have all these ups and downs, and ideally in the grand scheme of things, it's essentially up, then that is a pulse, right? You want those things in life, because who watches a movie and everything's great? Just like a Barbie movie, like what can you talk about? So even a Barbie movie has adversity, right? So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more, if you need some coaching services, if you want to feel motivated, if you want to have the right mindset, if you need systems and processes as a service solopreneur, reach out to me. I'll definitely help you out. This is how I grew my business, HoliFit, with about 10 staff, some contractors, coaches. I can help you grow. And just like how I did mine. Thanks for watching, guys. Please comment. Let me know what video you want to see next. I'm aiming to help service solopreneurs grow their business. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.